Comic Talk, episode 120. And as you probably noticed, we're talking English and we're not native speakers. Well, I'm talking English. I didn't hear you talk English.
I'm also going to talk English.
And the reason why we have a really special guest in our house. We can introduce him later a bit, but it's got something to do with this amazing graphic novel, Chad in Amsterdam. Chad is gonna come to the stage. I want to say, come to our table. We're live in
Hilversum.
In Hilversum at our friends at Exbia Studios, and we got a big interview with Chad. And we got the usual stuff. But first, I want to ask you something, Medar.
Yeah.
Did you get up into the He-Man mania from the last couple of days?
No, because I didn't grow up with He-Man. When I grew up, my parents really didn't like television. So we only had public stations. And the public stations didn't air any He-Man or Masters of the Universe. So, yeah, I...
So, tell me about why there was a big hype the last couple of days about He-Man.
Kruidvat, the how do you say? Yeah, cheap ass store. I guess.
It's a grocery store.
Grocery store.
Pharmacy.
They had a really good deal. You could get the He-Man action figure and the Battle Cat figure for I believe €4 to €6, and 50% discount at the register. So you could basically get them for €6 in total. I think. It's insane.
This morning I was in Rotterdam to do an interview for Twitch, and I stumbled upon a Kruidvat, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to check it out. Everybody loves FOMO, and I have FOMO too. So I bought two He-Mans.
Yeah.
And they didn't get me 50% off, so I've paid €10 for it.
You should go back.
Yeah. But I'm not really a He-Man fan. So I thought it would be a nice present for Medar. So I called up Medar and said, I really don't like He-Man Turtles forever. And all that. So we did the setup, and then Jeroen the second, he said, well, I'm a big fan. I said, oh, you're going to get mine. And then Medar, I already bought it for Medar, and Medar said, I really don't want it. Shall we open it?
Yeah, but the fun thing is that He-Man is basically a blonde Conan.
No way.
Yeah, but Mattel, the company, also behind Barbie, of course, they really wanted to have a toy for boys, and they knew Schwarzenegger was coming up with a Conan the Barbarian movie, and then they actually saw a rough cut of the movie in which the parents of Conan, very old spoilers, are getting beheaded, and later in the movie, Conan comes to a shed and knocks on the door, and young lady opens, and without saying anything, not even a hi, he has sexual intercourse with this woman. So Mattel was like, this is not our barbarian. So they made a new barbarian, blonde hair, blue eyes, a little bit more clothing, like Spencer's around his torso. And the rest is history. And now actually you have your blonde, all ages Conan.
Look.
Yeah. You should now say his thing.
I remember that.
Yeah.
The Grayskull's powers. Yeah. Something. Oh, by the power of Grayskull!
Yes.
But the power! Right. But this Conan looked like Asian. No, Conan, this is like an Asian He-Man.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Yeah. No, that's
well, he's gonna... Yeah. I'm gonna give him.
And there's actually a little comic with the figure. I'm really curious about this.
When you talk about little, it's really little.
Yeah, like a beeviltje.
Oh my god. Medar, my present to you.
Oh no, thank you.
So we got this guy standing guard, and it's a strange thing. He's got like an axe, a Conan axe, but he cannot get. You know what?
He looks good. Thank you.
It's time to kick off the show.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna tell you about the horrible time I had with Madam Web, but it's really bad. It's the first one I gave.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
But last episode, Ray told us he was laughing at the movie. Did you laugh anytime?
I was crying.
Oh. Well.
I couldn't make sense. This is such a bad movie. Every word we spend on Madam Web is one word too many. So get on with the show.
Yeah.
And are we going to translate the you need to have this, or we go moet je hebben?
Maar moet je hebben,
Yeah.
because else it will be very confusing.
Okay, we're gonna start out with the Moet je hebben, and it's a compact version, so we only got like 7 books.
The first book is...
Well, for the people who are not watching this on YouTube, Jeroen is doing the tag, and he was really going like, yeah, it's a really good story, and you got and they were like, oh yeah. Well, next week Marvel is doing a What If again, but he's doing something really special, and it's What If Aliens. I like the premise of What If.
Yeah.
Only the problem is the artists are nine times out of 10 not that good. Story is not that good.
It's a B title most of the time. Yeah.
But not with aliens.
We will see next week.
No. I read Aliens Black,
White, and Blood.
And the strange thing is, the color green is also really there in the comic. I really like that one, and that's why I'm looking forward to What If Aliens.
All right. Then the next one is a very special title. It's the latest title of Image Comics. It's The Last Mermaid by Derek Kirk Kim. The creator says something to me, but I can't remember what. But the concept is a Last Mermaid crossed with a science fiction post-apocalyptic setting. So I'm here.
Yeah, it's number 1 from Image, so you're always there. The next one is the Ultimate X-Men, and Ultimate is something in the comic source. It's like crazy. It started with Ultimate Spider-Man, and we got people into CIA that were not visiting CIA, but really wanted that comic. And we had like 150, I think.
Whoa!
And they sold out in 2 days. And then Black Panther came.
Yeah.
I really thought the book sucked.
Yeah,
really hard.
It was that. It wasn't good, in my opinion.
No, it's the same to me. But again, people were going for it like crazy. Last week, Spider-Man 2 came out.
I really liked it. You didn't?
Yeah, I really liked it. But again, sold out.
Oh,
It's I don't know. So, what do you think about Ultimate X-Men?
It's. I think it's a very good combination, because the Ultimate line at the moment is very hot. And the artist and writer, Peach Momoko, is also very hot. So it's like gold and gold together, or peanut butter and jello.
Jelly?
Yeah.
Jelly.
Yeah, jello.
Jello, that would be really disgusting. We got an American coming, so he can tell you how much a peanut butter and jelly sandwich is nice, but a peanut butter and jello sandwich sounds horrible.
Yeah.
No, I am a little bit tired of Peachy.
And how can that be? Because in my opinion, her short stories in the anthology series from Marvel are most of the time the best.
No, it's not in my opinion.
Oh.
No, so I'm really looking forward to it, and also be a little bit trepidatious. Like I don't know if it's gonna be good.
On the one hand, I'm a bit jealous of you, because my expectations are very high and yours are very low. So you probably get the best experience of this book, and I might be disappointed.
And I really like the font that they use on the cover.
Yeah,
it's
nice design.
Yeah, it's a nice design. The next one is
Beyond
Real, and Beyond Real. This issue 2. Why we put Beyond Real? It's friend of the show,
Dennis Menhere, who was also in our 100th episode.
He drew one of the stories. I'm really looking forward to it. I don't know what the book's about. It's an anthology book.
I thought it was a science fiction horror anthology, if I'm correct.
When you look at the cover, I can totally understand that. And everything Dennis does is great. So
yeah,
really looking forward to it. Then we got Judge Dredd.
Yeah, that's your baby.
Yeah. The strangest thing is when you order, as a comic book store, you order Judge Dredd. You order it from America, from Diamond.
Oh, yeah.
And they order it from the UK. They ship it to to the headquarters of Diamond, and Diamond ships it to the Netherlands once again. Yay, nature! It's so bad.
Yeah, but isn't there a way for a store like CEA to cut out the middleman?
Yeah,
Diamond?
it is, but because of the Brexit, you pay an arm and a leg when you order them. But I was in London 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I picked it up already.
Oh, okay. So you got a book from the future.
Yeah, basically. And it's Judge Dredd, and people the people who listened to the show before know Judge Dredd is my be all and all.
Yeah.
Next to Conan. So this one is it's again the top of British artists in the 80s, 90s. I think in the 90s. And the great thing is the complete case files. They're a really thick book. They're just like it's 250 pages. 4-page stories, so lots of stories.
Oh, whoa.
A great way to, before you go to sleep, after you've been gaming really intense Call of Duty the last couple of weeks, and then just chill with some Judge Dredd.
Nice. Yeah. A new Batman arc arrives, again by Chip Zdarsky and returning artist Jorge Jimenez. He's one of the
better artists at DC at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm really glad he's returning, and it's this new arc is set up after Joker Year One, which is a great success.
And it's freaking amazing. And again, a sellout.
Yeah,
They cannot print these books. It's stuff that happened in the 90s when people just went to comic stores en masse to get the special image cover or whatever. It's the same as happening right now. And the one thing I really don't like is a lot of people think because Spider-Man, Ultimate Spider-Man went for crazy money, €75, I think, in the first week, that people really think they're buying it as an investment.
Yeah, we'll talk to you about about 3 years.
Yep. No, but I really like Joker Year One.
Yeah, I only read the first issue, but I was a bit meh. It's nice art, but not my cup of tea of story. Yeah, sorry. More for you.
Yeah. No, but this one, once again, I'm gonna try Batman again. So this is a concurring theme in this podcast.
Yeah.
And we got the last one.
Yeah.
Terry Moore, Take My Money. I don't know why I buy this. I really don't know why.
You
I buy
already
this.
got Strangers in Paradise in
I got the
formats?
singles. I got the pocket books. I got the trade paperback.
Wow.
And now there is Omnibus Part 3.
Yeah.
And the great thing is they skip out all the filler issues, so there is no text issues. It's just a story.
Yeah.
And that's the way I said to myself, well, it's good to buy because now you can read it as a. I don't know, but if you never read Strange in Paradise, shame on you, and buy these books. These books are $26-27, and you got a thick one.
Yeah.
And it's really nice.
I agree. It's one of the best comic series ever made, in my opinion. Yeah.
Now it's time to get our guest.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Wat heb je gelezen? Oh yeah.
What have you gelezen?
Yeah. With our guest Chad.
And normally we have an audience.
Yeah.
Kind of,
Welcome.
Hey, what's up? Thanks, y'all.
Hey, Chad, how you doing?
Yeah, life's good. Can't complain.
That's the good.
Well, I
thing.
could,
Good to
but
hear.
that's not why I'm here.
You're not Dutch, so
Yeah, but I'm good at complaining.
that's
my ingeburgerd.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
you
That's
know.
why I make you perk fit in Amsterdam.
It did.
Welcome to the show.
Hey,
We're gonna
thanks
talk
for having
later.
me.
We're gonna talk later about your book. At first, what did you read last week?
Not exactly last week because I was very busy last week, but the last couple books I read the first part of the Homicide graphic novel by written by David Simon of The Wire fame, of course. And if you haven't watched The Wire, shame on you.
Yep.
Yeah, sorry
And,
guys.
drawn
didn't?
by
No,
you did
not yet.
Oh,
I'm
man.
really young, so I
again, I'm jealous of you because you get to see it for the first time. I'm watching it again right now for like the 15th time.
Wow.
I got the Blu-ray box gifted by a friend, so I need to watch it again.
Yeah, it's season 4. I think is the best season of TV ever.
Okay.
Personally,
Wow.
yeah, it's powerful. But who drew this? Felipe Squarzoni. He translates this into a comic form. It's highly readable, really good. Detailing the homicide unit in Baltimore. So you're really getting you see a lot of stuff that made its way to The Wire, but I guess he tailed along with the homicide unit for a year and then wrote this book. And it was a show, but I never saw the show. So I thought, oh, the comic might be a good way to ingest it, because I know also I didn't really want to read the book so much, but the comic still keeps it raw and gritty, and it's not toned down for network television. So I recommend it if you like crime stories and whatnot. Really good.
And it's a two-parter, right?
Yeah, it's a two-parter. So I have the second part now. So looking forward to reading that.
It's a second book, so the publisher who specializes in big paperbacks, I think, book-like, more like a book than a comic.
Yeah, it's pretty big. Like it's about 300-something pages. Yeah. So
it's on my want list.
Yeah,
really looking.
You want it? It's really good. Really good.
Medar, what did you?
I read Utero from Chris Gooch, published by Top Shelf. And when I saw this in the previews with only this beautiful cover, I was like, I need to have this. And Top Shelf describes this as Akira meets Aliens and Annihilation meets Evangelion. It's great. It's a coming of age story with monsters. Also reminded me a little bit of Stranger Things, and it uses a very minimal color palette. Sometimes a black, white, and red. Sometimes black, white, and blue, like Marvel and DC do. And yeah, it's a great story, and it's also a little bit a young adult without being too childish, because Aliens, Annihilation, Evangelion, highly recommended.
You were the only one who ordered it at the store.
Yeah, I feel really special.
Yeah. And I felt FOMO once again. It's like, why didn't I order it? So I reordered it.
Yeah, very good. It's one of the biggest surprises for me this year, because I also never heard of Chris Gooch, but he should be a really acclaimed artist. But, yeah.
What I really admire about you, that book came out last week.
Yeah.
How do you find the time? By not answering the phone when I call. How do you slide dick? No, but how do you get time to read a massive graphic novel like this? Because I don't, with all the floppies and all the graphic novels and all the manga that I got.
There isn't that much text, as you can see. And now I'm really behind on my floppies. So yeah, I had to sacrifice some X-Men and Spider-Man and all the superheroes.
It was a good sacrifice.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's really nice to set the flops aside. Sometimes I really put your teeth in a big graphic novel. Big. Well, it's about
big-ish.
300 pages, I think. But yeah. Jeroen?
Yeah, I read a lot of comics, and normally here I speak about the comics I really like, and I talk about the comics I really hate. There we go. And at first, Spawn 350.
Yeah. You did it again.
In the words of the famous Britney Spears, oops, I did it again. It's not as bad as Madam Web.
Oh.
But it's other good news is Todd McFarlane is not really writing it. He does the plot. He does an additional script.
Oh, okay.
But the plot is, and the script and plot is from Rory McGonville. Don't know who it is. The art is by Brad Booth and Carlo Barberi, and it's pretty good.
The art, yeah. It looks great. Yeah.
If you're a Spawn fan,
yeah.
Could somebody please tell me what this book is about? Because I don't know. There is the King of Hell, that is Spawn, that is not Spawn. There's a guy who's leaking ectoplasma, and then there's a girl Spawn coming out, and she's not a girl Spawn. I went like,
Maybe it's time for Ultimate Spawn.
Yeah, maybe it is. Well, actually, Ray and I went to New York Comic Con, and we went to the Todd McFarlane panel, and they're gonna do some Spawn that is not in Spawn. It's some Spawn universe, but not connected to the L. Simonson, Wanda Simonson Spawn. My hopes are for them, and this one I really hoped to get back into Spawn again. No,
too bad.
There are a lot of people who really like it, and tomorrow is New Comic Book Day, and hopefully this will not be aired tomorrow. Otherwise, I'm gonna get a lot of shit for this. There's people okay like, how can you do it? It's my Spawn. It's the best. No, Spawn is not my thing. If you want it, you can get it. If you want it, you can.
No thanks.
Cool. If you want it, you can get it. I want to read it, so it's yours.
Yeah.
Chet, what, did you read any other books? Hopefully they're better than mine.
Yeah, it's definitely better than Spawn. I read, a reread, technically, of Sandman Mystery Theater, the omnibus. It's written by Matt Wagner and Steven Seagal, and mostly drawn by Guy Davis. That's just, I mean, I'm a big noir detective sort of guy, so Sandman Mystery Theater is just great. Like, it's loosely connected to Sandman, but a bit.
More the Sandman of the Golden Age from DC,
Well,
with the gas pistol.
Also the one with the helmet
yeah,
and whatnot.
Laterwards, yeah.
And because he appears in his dreams.
Yeah.
And that's why they connected, like, oh, he has these dreams because of Morpheus. But if you just like, again, crime, it's just classically told. It fits in with any Dashiell Hammett, Raymond Chandler type of book. It's just classic stuff. And I hope people buy it because they haven't said they're going to publish the second omnibus. They did?
Probably next month.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's good to hear because I definitely want that.
Yeah.
I love the omnibuses. It's funny because when you're a comic person, you often buy the same thing twice or more.
Or 3 times.
Yeah.
4 times.
And I pretty much had most of this run. I didn't read them all, but I had them all. And then I sold my collection at a point. So now I'm like, okay, now I'll just buy the omnibus, which is actually better for yourself, you know?
And also better for your wallet.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
Because
sure.
it's $34.99, I think.
Yeah,
It's the
quite
thing.
affordable. And it looks good sitting on the bookcase,
Yeah.
you know?
And Sandman Mystery. Sorry, man. Go ahead.
Why did you sell your collection? Because that's a big ball you dropped.
Oh, yeah. It was something like I was storing it in a bakery that my mother ran. And she was she didn't know the situation of she was kind of bothering me to get rid of it. So I sold them. There was a comic book store around the corner from her bakery in Cleveland Heights, Ohio. They gave me a good price.
Okay.
I sold them all. I kept my Acme novelty libraries. That's about it.
Yeah.
And it was nice. It was cathartic because I got rid of all this stuff that I used to just hoard and lust after. So, and then, I didn't look back. But I have bought a few of the best stuff, like I read Starman Omnibus and Batman Year One again. So I buy a lot of it again, but I like to get it in the prestige format. Again, I'm all about making my bookshelf look good. So people come over like, oh.
Yeah.
You know, I like floppies, but they're hard to display unless you like frame it, or it has to be forward facing. That's the trick with the floppies. You know?
Yeah.
Let's get back to Sandman Mystery Theater, because I remember when Vertigo was still publishing it.
Right.
Then you got like it opened up a world. It was my introduction to Vertigo.
Yeah.
And
okay.
it was just like something, especially the Guy Davis art, something that I did not know before, because I knew Jim Lee, I knew the Marvel, I knew the DC artist, and it was totally different. And I read them, I was really impressed. I don't know what happened to my original things. They got lost along the way. Maybe I sold them. And when the omnibus came out, I ordered it, and it was one of those things you read, and you're at the end, and you want more. And it's just like a really good series. If you've seen HBO or whatever streaming, it's like 6 issues. That is one story arc, and then you got another 6 issues, another story arc, and it's all interconnected, but not in a way that you should read all of it.
Right.
I was really impressed by it.
It's really good. I mean, Vertigo, I don't even, is there anything even like that now?
Yeah, there is. Distillery is doing.
They're doing good stuff, but like
really good stuff.
Vertigo at its prime with, I mean, you had Shade the Changing Man, Doom Patrol, Sandman,
Preacher,
Black Orchid.
Yeah.
So many good titles. It's almost like
Legendary.
how are they doing this? And at least, sure, you have something like Distillery and certain Image titles, but is there anything in the mainstream amongst the big two like this anymore?
But maybe there isn't a big public for it. I think when Watchmen came out and Dark Knight came out, first Dark Knight, everybody went like, it's 1986, I think.
Yeah.
86,
It was like the golden year of comics, and everybody wanted to get into comics. And right now we have this thing that there are blips on the radar that people are going like with the Ultimate, with Batman Joker Ryu one, that people come in, but they come in for a different reason. And I think it's with the advent of social media, iPads and stuff, there is a lot of times competing. Comic books are competing with. Normally they were competing with television, newspapers, and magazines, and now the competition is so much bigger. And I think the crowd for comic. I don't think a publisher like Vertigo would survive in these markets. I think. I would love it. And now the other things you got it right now, like you said, Image does a lot of cool things. Boom has some really interesting stuff that would be Vertigo-esque. It would be, but to be honest, after Watchmen, we didn't get something that is close to Watchmen.
Maybe Fables for some people.
No, it's not. They're not going to talk about Watchmen. Was 86, 2024. I'm really bad at math, but after 30 years, we're not going to talk about Fable. It's a good book.
Agreed.
Yeah, I mean, Akira.
Yeah,
would be maybe that other epochal comic. Sandman.
Yeah, but when you go more to the present day and age, nothing.
I'm not sure. Not to say that there aren't good comics, of course, but what is the one that can, entice people who don't read comics?
Yeah.
What is the one that can get on the New York Times bestseller list? That's a good question.
Maybe The Walking Dead.
Maybe that is that. But is that acclaimed? Is my only question.
I think Walking Dead is a really good zombie comic, and I love their deluxe versions, and I'm rereading it, and it's talking about a series that I spent way too much money on. But it's not a Sandman, it's not a Preacher, it's not a Watchman, it's not a Dark Knight.
No, that's true.
Medar, what did you read? Next to Inutro.
Last week, the big news came out. A lot of people were happy. I was quite indifferent because Marvel and DC are going to team up again and republish their old crossovers and amalgam.
Wait! I gotta tell the story.
Yeah.
So I am on my Facebook and I see this popping up. So I called Medar, and this time he picked up. I said, "Did you see?" I said, I said, "Huh?" I really didn't like it. But it's amalgam. It's the history. It's the last time those two guys.
It's been
and you were
almost 30
indifferent.
years.
And I was like, so that conversation. Okay, talk to you later.
I'm sorry, but it's just I'm not a big fan of most of those old crossovers, and amalgam I always found a very stupid concept. But I was doing some research, like maybe I missed out on something, and then it turned out that José Ladron drew Spider-Boy Team Up, which is a really weird comic, of course, because Spider-Boy is a fusion of the 90s Superboy and the current day in 1996 Spider-Man, and in this Team Up one shot he has a team up with the Legion Galactic Guardians of 2099, which is a mashup of Legion of Superheroes, Guardians of the Galaxy.
In 2099.
Yeah, and it's really weird. It's a big time traveling story, but the art is amazing. Ladron has a very similar style to, I guess, Jack Kirby. And a bit of Möbius, so he has a lot of details and weirdness, like Kirby did, which is the only reason you would buy this comic, in my opinion. And it's also a very silly story, so if you're into that, but so if you want to buy the omnibus, you could, but you could also pick this comic up, and if you look really hard, you can just buy it for a couple of euros. There are already stores who are selling this comic for about 20 euros. Don't do it. It is very nice, but not 20 euros.
Well, they had me at this is a cross between Superboy 1990 and Spider-Man 1996. Come on and take my money. Come on. And to be honest, I'm gonna buy both trade paperbacks. I don't think I'm gonna read them.
Oh, it's
I think
just
I'm gonna
shelf
put it on the
storage.
shelf, and knowing that I own them,
Oh, okay.
that is probably enough. And they got some pretty good. They had the Wolverine Batman crossover that I really liked, and also the next to Amalgam, they also kind of published the Garcia stuff, Superman, the big Superman and Spider-Man, and I really
that
love those books.
crossover.
And
Okay.
those, we had them in the store once, and I said, I want it. And Charles said, no, you don't. I said, yeah, I want it. My best price for you is 150.
No
no,
way.
I don't want it.
Yeah.
That was a near mint copy.
Oh, I do really like the new Teen Titans Uncanny X-Men crossover. That's, in my opinion, the best of the whole bunch.
So you're gonna buy it.
No, I already have that one
Ah,
in my
okay.
collection. So
Yeah, but not in a trade paper. I'm totally on your side with that. It's great to look in your bookcase and you have stuff like that.
do you have any affection of old Marvel and DC crossovers yet?
No, I thought they were trash when they came out.
All right, yeah.
But I did like the 2099 line, particularly Spider-Man and Doom
Yeah.
of that line. But yeah, like my modern day superhero, I don't read any superhero stuff. I used to, but now I don't know what's going on.
We're going to talk about that in the interview.
Yeah.
Okay,
One of
cool.
the
All
questions.
right.
Continue,
Sorry, I'm
so-
jumping ahead, but yeah, I'm like, I don't know what's going
No,
on.
but I know. I totally agree. It's those Amalgam. It's trash. But the publishing Marvel and DC did in the 70s, in the early 80s, they are really good. For my point of view, I remember seeing that big book in the Netherlands, and it was $1.50.
Oh, wow.
And
Basically nothing.
yeah, but okay, my allowance was 25 cents.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that was
Yeah,
always
same.
something. I said, Dad, can I 150 for a are you crazy? And now we pay $3.99
Yeah.
for a book.
Now,
Oh,
I
how-
mean, that old Teen Titans X-Men crossover was good. That was good.
I agree.
But I mean, I'm talking like a comic. It's like 30-some years old, right?
Yeah.
Tells you
Even
how out
more.
the loop I am.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Jeroen.
Frank Miller.
Yeah.
What do you
Return
thought?
of the King.
Wow, Return of the
Yeah.
very old king.
Yeah, the has-been king.
Yeah, it's so hard. This is so hard for me because I really like Frank Miller. What he did with Daredevil,
Yeah.
it's fantastic. What he did with Batman is fantastic. What he did with Ronin is one of those gems that is good, that is still relevant. It was
I
not.
agree, yeah.
It was not my cup of tea, but I can see it was really good.
Yeah.
And then he went downhill with Holy Terror, with the really right-wingy. It was supposed to be a Batman comic, but DC went no.
Yeah.
And after 9/11, a guy, Commando, goes to the Middle East and basically kills people. And really
kills
crude.
all the people with...
He made 300, and Xerxes. That was also pretty good.
that
Sin
was
City.
pretty recent,
Yeah.
Xerxes
Ah,
sequel.
I think it's around 10 years ago.
Yeah,
And then he got
for
into
Frank Miller, that's pretty
yeah.
recent.
And then he got into a bit of a problem with his the things he said during Thought Bubble when he got uninvited. And it's after that he was Frank Miller Presents, and we talked about it in a really early episode of Comic Talk Now.
Yeah.
I was really looking forward to it, and then I read the first issues with all the comics. There was no Frank Miller, and a year and a half later, there is Frank Miller. The closing shot of Ronin, book 2.
Yeah.
And I will show you something really cool.
Yeah, cover looks great.
Cover looks awesome.
Yeah, well, the logo sort of disappears with all the lines, but
Yeah.
yeah.
But it's
But the illustration is cool, yeah.
yeah. The rest of the comic, it's not. It's just like he draws these, I can imagine, really small art thingies, like a panel.
Yeah, thumbnails, yeah.
And he superimposes it
Yeah.
to stuff like this.
So we should look at this from a distance.
Yeah, and it's it's so crude. It's so not.
Yeah.
I would love to see Frank Miller doing his Frank Miller stuff with the new style that everybody's got, like a new inker or something different. But this is the stuff he did like Dark Knight, only worse, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And also what didn't work was I came in, I read issue 1 and I didn't like it of Ronin, and then I bought issue 6, so I couldn't make head or tails of the comic.
Yeah.
If you're a Frank Miller fan, beware. Beware is the only thing you can see. I really like this Marvel stuff that he's doing right now, the covers.
Yeah.
He did a great thing, Captain America, Moon Knight, I really liked. And Frank, if you're listening, please stick. This is English, so maybe he does.
Yeah.
Stick to comics. Stick to comic fronts, covers. Also not that good.
Or take your time.
Or
maybe.
take your time.
Yeah, maybe it's a time thing.
It feels like a rush. Even He-Man agrees. It's time for the big interview.
Yes.
Oh,
And then we have a big interview.
yeah.
We got like 25 pages of questions.
Oh, great.
So
Let me clear my throat for that.
We're staying here. This is Comic Canal XXL.
Cool.
So no. First and foremost, how did a guy from Cleveland end up in Amsterdam writing comics?
Yeah, long story. Well, in between Cleveland and here, I was living in D.C. So I studied, worked, came of age in D.C. So when that chapter drew to a close, I got the opportunity to study here at University of Amsterdam, 2009. So I did that and just stayed, And life was sometimes good, sometimes tumultuous, as life can be. And during one of the nadirs, the low points, I was like, you know what? I got to reinvent my life, need to do something new. So I was reading at the time American Splendor by Harvey Pekar, who's actually he's from where I'm from, Cleveland. And it was nice reading this comic because I'm seeing Cleveland in the comic. And, Cleveland's not like New York. New York is really spoiled by having their city and so much art and cool media. And I'm reading this and I'm like, okay, hey, that's the West Side Market. Oh, that's Coventry Road. And I'm seeing these things and I'm like, you know what? I could probably do this and base it on my life, but in Amsterdam. Because not only, it's a different shtick. Harvey's born and raised, bred and fed Cleveland. And I'm not from Amsterdam. So I'm giving what I thought was kind of a needed outsider view. Not necessarily, because I don't really consider myself an expat. So more I consider myself an Amsterdammer.
If you're living in Amsterdam for 14 years and you pay tax for 14 years, you are in Amsterdam.
Yeah, most of those years at least, you know what I'm saying? When I was gainfully employed. But so I thought maybe I got a point of view, a viewpoint that might be interesting to not just other people in an expat immigrant situation, but also folks from here and maybe tourists, which kind of worked for me. So I get, people from these three demographics seem to like what I'm doing. So yeah, I made the first comic, which sold out. It's in that book, but sold out on my end at least. So yeah, feedback was good. Got a decent write-up on it. So I was like, all right, well, we'll do 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then eventually... Graphic novel just came out, published by Scratch Books. Looks good.
Big shout out to Scratch.
And that's... I love these, too, because, as a self-publisher, it's hard to do all that and, pay artists and then put out the book. So I did them issue by issue. And I love the issues, too, but it's really... You see my thesis a lot better, I think, when you can read it in one chunk like that. Yeah, so that's how it happened, and it worked, and people seem to like it. So I was like, well, I'll keep doing it. I got more stories to tell.
And how did you end up at Scratch Books?
I was in BD Angoulême in France.
And it's one of the biggest comic conventions in Europe.
Yeah, it's amazing. If you can go, you should go, because you'll love it. You'll love it. So I was there, and, as a professional, and you get this badge, you can go into the rights and licensing tent. So I had set up a meeting with them beforehand. They knew a bit of what they said they had heard of my work, maybe had some issues. I gave them some, and yeah, they were like, "Yeah, we'll work with you. We'll do it." So, I mean, wasn't the fastest process. Like, took about roughly a year and a half or so to get everything together from like initial meeting to book coming out. But you know, it was a seamless process. They're great to work with. So I was just happy that they were really into it. You know, because for me, no offense to all the other comic publishers, but I didn't think it really made any sense for me to be on any other publishing company in the Netherlands other than Scratch. It made sense at Scratch, you know, so I'm glad that worked out.
And it's also an Amsterdam company.
Yeah, it's an Amsterdam company, so...
And Wiebe told me that he really liked, as the owner, the publisher of Scratchbooks, that he really liked a different kind of view of his city that he's seen all his life through the eyes to somebody else who's not from around here.
That's exactly what he told me, and he's like, "I see my city anew through your stories." So I was like, "Okay, that's cool. That's exactly what I was trying to do," you know. So yeah, like really an honor to be on that publishing house because I think they put out great books. So to have your book on that, yeah, just you know, it's an honor. So that worked out well, you know.
And you self-published 6 issues, and some of them are on the table at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
But none of them are drawn by you. So how did you find those artists?
Well, technically, I drew a few things.
Oh, okay.
But not like whole comics. I can draw, but I don't draw.
And why is that?
I'm out of practice, and I feel that I'm slow. And I prefer to write. I like to dictate and tell people what to do. So that's why I write scripts and like, yeah, you do this immediately. So,
and in your biography, you're saying you're a gifted illustrator, but too lazy to draw at any degree of consistency.
Yeah, that's about right. You know, like if you flip the book over, there's like this Looney Tunes caricature of me. I drew that. I don't know.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
So in there's a comic called Milk in the first issue, which I don't have here. I drew. It's a one-panel thing. I drew that.
Yeah.
I did this building, which wasn't it looks like an illustrator thing, but I actually drew it and then followed through on Procreate. So I drew this too.
Oh, cool.
So I can, and actually, I have a plan to actually draw something. Because I'm really tired of everybody. I mean, it makes sense. I get it, because I don't really draw. But I can. It's just not. That was my focus from like a little kid up to about the age of 23. And then I started to gravitate towards, around 18, I gravitated towards music. But 23, that kind of came on a lot stronger, and photography, and writing. So, I mean, I'm always involved in some artistic output, you know, some sort of creation. But I just didn't draw a lot. And I thought also it would be cool for these stories to have a diverse look. I know everybody's big on the auteur thing, but I'm like, isn't it kind of cool if you read one and it's got a different style, so I look different, the city looks different. So, you know, it's just cool to work with different artists, really, that also in a way hones your writing. You know, if you're working with, I've worked with like almost 30 different artists on this book. So you're working with people with different proclivities and opinions and styles. So I think as a writer, that works in your favor too. So that's kind of why I did it. And laziness.
Did you reach out to the artist, or did the artist come to you and say, "Hey, I want to participate in this project"?
A bit of both. At first, it was just I kind of knew certain people. So, like, the guy who does, like, and I don't have the first issue here, but he was a good friend of mine who did the cover for the first one. So it's in your slides somewhere. But, so his name's Delicious Brain. So I knew him, and I was like, you hook up the cover.
Sorry, just quit. Ben jij die slides erop doen?
Ja, sorry.
Het is, ik zat je al de hele tijd... sorry, God.
He's like, I'm playing 2 dots, homie. Calm down.
Okay, could you start out with the comic that is on the screen right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This guy who drew this, his name is Danny Modesto Rodriguez, and I think he's a great artist. He's from Cleveland, Ohio, so he's actually never been to Amsterdam. So this is the cover of the hardcover, the compendium, and Danny, like, I worked with him on another story in my infamous Center Class issue. So I wanted him to do the cover. So I just sent him a bunch of photos, like mostly of things I had taken around the town. And I'm like, look, I want you to just like smash these together. I showed him some like old school blaxploitation posters as kind of like, you know, inspiration. And he came up with this. And I'm like, I like it because it's busy. And I really miss that old school 90s busy comic art. You know, there's like a lot going on that it's like I'm looking at the cover and seeing what's cracking. So most of those people and most of the things on there, they're kind of real. The funniest bit, one little aside, little anecdote about the cover, I get it back and you got the milk mice there, right? And she's in red. And I'm like, well, why is she red? And he was like, because she went through the chimney.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So
is this Tintin, by the way?
No, that's just like Jan Willem, you know, some cocker guy on a bike. Because I sent a picture of a dude in a blue suit, brown shoes. Yeah, throw him in some way. So he was like, okay, well, I'll have him getting knocked out by the girl with the bat. Then that bat is an actual thing that I own. So most of it comes from actual pictures I've taken. Like you'll see there's this naked guy, semi-naked dude on a bike. He's a real Amsterdam fixture.
Yeah, he's quite famous, right?
Yeah, he is. He's always riding around and with these underwear on and biking. And like he never stops. He's just...
Going back to the Melkmeisje, I thought when I saw the cover, it was a red light district Melkmeisje, like a old European art goes like slutty and seedy kind of Amsterdam.
Yeah, I figured that too because I was like, is this a coloring mistake? Because if it's the reflection of those lights, the back wouldn't be red. Yeah. But he was like, nah, it's because she went down the chimney. And I'm like, you're a funny dude, man. So, you know, all that. And then again, remember the old caution, white heroin sold as cocaine signs. And I just wanted to jam as much. And he even like, if you look at the ground, he's got like the street, then the bike lane, then like the sidewalk, then like the roof, which is Zwarte Piet and Center Claus. And I mean, it's just great. It's just so much going on. I personally like it, you know, so I'm a fan.
Great.
It's really cool. What's your process of writing? Do you write in the quiet? I know you're a big music fan.
Yeah.
Do you crank up the jams, or what's your process? Or just sitting somewhere and
chilling. Usually I'm not. Well, if I'm listening to music, it has to be something with no lyrics, because if lyrics are playing, I'm gonna listen to the lyrics. So I might put on instrumental hip hop. More than likely, though, I would put on something like some 70s dub, you know, because there's very few words in that. It's chill, makes you think a bit. So I just, you know, usually it's silence, though. I'm at my computer. I start on paper. So I always have a pen on me, a notepad. So I usually just start, what am I trying to do? What's the story? What are the major movements? Boom, boom, boom. Then we break that down into a page setup. Then I start writing dialogue. Then I hate typing, which, I know.
For a writer, that's,
I know, it's silly. So, but I hate to type. If I can avoid it, I do. So then I usually, when I go, by the time I'm typing, most of the dialogue's been written, or at least a tight outline. And then I just start. Page 1, panel 1, bow. And, you know, plot it out. I usually plot out panel setup. I leave it to an artist. For artists have like veto rights, like the U.S. president. So if I present them a script, and, you know, I'm definitely like, they don't change dialogue or nothing. But if I got, like, say I got a 9-panel page, and they're like, this might work better doing a 7-panel page. Okay, how you gonna do it? Let me know. Boom. Okay, yeah, it looks good. Usually they're right, because I write quite descriptive scripts. So I do that. I give too much data because I want any subsequent thought from the artist to be rooted in what I really want. So when you give them too much, it's like they're kind of stuck in exactly what you want.
Yeah.
You know, and of course, you don't have to do everything, but this doesn't make sense, but I'm going to give you all the details you need. Maybe too much. Sometimes I got to take reference photos, you know, videos, especially if they're not in the city. If they're in the city, it's great because we can meet up, walk around where I'm at, where I want the story to be. But a lot of times I'm doing reference photos and whatnot too.
Music is also a big part of the book. And how did you get it to write the foreword? Is written by AP from. Sorry, it's contagious.
Yeah,
no, it's good the same. From Run the Jewels.
Yeah, I got LP.
How did you? How?
Yeah. I
Because
mean,
he's a pretty famous guy.
Yeah, that's true. And it's funny because I didn't really. A quote of his is on the back, but I didn't want like the front to be like introduction by LP. I mean, I'm a big LP fan, like since Company Flow days, Def Jux. So, you know, I know my hip hop well, so we go back. Run the Jewels is great too, but love Def Jux stuff. The album he produced, this Cannibal Ox album, incredible. So, I mean, basically, I used to tweet a lot, and not so much anymore. But I'm on Twitter and I check my DMs, and then I had one from the real LP, and I'm like, actually, no, he followed me first, and I'm thinking, well, this is strange. Why would LP follow me? Like I'm nobody, you know what I mean? So a few weeks go by, the DM pops up, and I'm like, so he's like, hey, what's up, dog? One of my wife's friends said we should get your book. We're here living in Amsterdam for the moment, so at some point we got to meet up. So a couple months go by, we actually meet up, hung out a little bit. Cool dude, really gave me some great advice on independent production, independent publishing, because he was independently doing most of his music, you know, I mean, actually to this day, still. So he gave me some good pointers. He was a cool dude. And then I guess he was in town to do a show that he never got to do. They were going to work with a Dutch publishing company. So when he left, he was moving. He's like, I'm moving back to New York. Like, fuck all this. Oh, there's my 1F. Excuse me. But so he was like, do you want some weed and speakers? And I'm like, yeah, sure, I can always use weed and speakers. So I went to his house, got some weed, got some speakers. And that was that. And then, you know, I got his number, I got his email. I'm not here saying like we're the best of friends, and I don't abuse that. He's like, hey, if you're in New York, let's meet up. But he's always busy. So I hit him when I'm in New York. Hey, you around? He said, no, I'm doing a tour and such, rocking the stadium. And I was doing this book, so I emailed him. I'm like, would you like to do the foreword? Because you're like the most, you know, the most famous person who I think has read my book, ordered the book, other than Juno Diaz, who's a good writer from the States, teaches at Harvard. But I thought LP would be a little bit more snazzy. You know, and I thought that, you know, people would appreciate that. So he said, yeah, he wrote it up. I kept it. I didn't change a word, really. Just kind of, you know, corrected a little grammar other than that. And, I mean, it was just an honor. And I drew that picture of LP, too. So if people want to know what I draw, I drew that.
Is Chad in Amsterdam also going to be published in other countries than the Netherlands?
I don't know. I mean, I do these, and when I go on festivals, I do bring these. I've been kind of selling the book a bit more, like when we saw each other at Thought Bubble.
Leeds, yeah.
That was a good day. I mean,
You sold out.
Yeah, I sold 20 copies real quick.
I still haven't returned the trolley to
Oh, you
scratch.
haven't?
No. I promise. Wiebe, if you're listening, I'm going to bring back the trolley.
I'm sure they're not like fiending over it or nothing.
No.
But now I'm I still bring these, at least for nothing. I mean, it's weird because you got folks, it's comics, you know how it is, and you got floppy people.
Yeah.
And then you got people who want that. So there's one guy, when I was in Columbus, and he was like, I want all your stuff. He said, you have number one? I'm like, I don't have any. And he was like, well, are they out there? I said, I'm sure there's some stores somewhere. And he emailed me. He was like, man, it was really hard to find. I had to order one from Belgium. So, he paid this crazy shipping cost. And I'm like, all right, well, it's flattering to have somebody who wants to be a completist with your work. So now I guess he'll get that when I go back to the States. So maybe. I guess, I'm sure you could like publish a paperback version of it in the States or something. If anybody's up for that, I'm listening. But,
whenever I'm in the States and you tell the people you're from Amsterdam, instant
they
go
present
like,
you with drugs.
Wow. Oh. No. Actually, in the early 2000s, people go like, "Are you carrying?"
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I said no, but it's normal when you were at a party in America and you or a family gathering or whatever, and you tell them you're living in Amsterdam, you get people's attention. They think it's so. I think it's really good fit in American, especially in stores like Barnes and Noble, but also the comics, because it's a really good eclectic collection of artists.
I would agree, and folks over there, they're into it because they've heard of Amsterdam. Many times they've been here. Other times they want to come visit. So, and it's not like your ordinary look. So. They learn a few things while they're doing it and are looking through it. But, they're into it. And it's not just like Amsterdam or me, but there's a nice cross-cultural component there that's not in a lot of other work in the world. Like this guy goes to this other place. Here's the story. There's not, what was that show with my man from The Sopranos? Where he moved,
Lilyhammer.
Lilyhammer.
Yeah.
It's kind of like
Stevie.
I'm not like really that much of a criminal.
Good to know.
But like
we're gonna talk about the re-up.
The re-up. I was like a low-level criminal, but like it's cool. People dig it. Like the States actually likes it. I get good reviews there. Sales are pretty good. I'm in a lot of places, a lot of stores, a few distributors, so it does well. We're presenting that book next. Well, actually, like I'm going for Mocha in New York City.
Cool.
So I'm bringing a bunch of those along, and we'll get them in some stores, make some sales.
And you're also going to send your works to Marvel or DC to maybe write a little Spider-Man.
Or to Image, or
or to Image. Yeah.
I went to Image once in Portland. I went to their offices, but then this is when I first started off, and I just had the first 2 issues, and I realized like, if you go to Image offices, no one who's important is going to actually be there. So, like, the secretary's looking at me like, and I'm like, can you get these to the people who need to read it, like Jim Valentino or something? And they're like, yeah, sure. I'm sure no one saw it. I would write. I'd love, a lot of people don't like Marvel and DC. And like I said, I don't really read a lot of their stuff nowadays, but I'd love to write because I know all the characters.
Yeah.
From growing up and reading it, and as you were mentioning, like Frank Miller's Daredevil, I'd like to do something really daring with some of their lesser-known characters.
Could you name a couple?
3D Man.
Oh, wow.
That's really deep.
Oh, do a pitch for Marvel for 3D Man.
I'd love to if they would hear me. And then, like, I liked... like the Scourge Wars, Captain America, remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Stuff like that. I think there's a lot of There's a lot of low-level characters that you could do a lot of fun things with in Marvel. And in DC, I got an idea as well. I like Legion, but I'm not really a sci-fi guy, but I have ideas.
That's a weird comment because Legion... to me, is the ultimate science fiction superhero series.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
I kind of just like the fact that we're all these people in one crew.
Yeah.
Like a Wu-Tang of superheroes. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, it'd be an honor. I'd love to just, but I wouldn't want, sure I'd do Batman. I guess.
Sure, I do Batman.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. DC, if you hear me, holler.
Spider-Man, okay. If you really want me to,
Spider-Man, I wouldn't want to. I never really. I like the black Spidey suit, but I never loved Spider-Man. I like this Rogues Gallery, though.
Yeah.
His villains are incredible.
Agreed.
Him, but Batman, Superman, nah.
Maybe a Sinister Six comic.
That Sinister Six was banging, you know? Like,
Yeah.
so I would love, that'd be an honor. Like, yeah, sure, one day, for me, it's a goal. I'd love, but if it's DC, either or, they both got terrible characters that you can totally revamp and do something cool. That would be the challenge to me.
A Turk miniseries.
Turk.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Turk
Yeah.
would be in it.
That's-
Yeah, because he got his origin. I think it wasn't Daredevil.
I think it
Frank-
was
the
Frank Miller.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then
so
he did a crossover. He was the guy who was always thrown through
Yeah.
the window.
Out
Yeah.
of the
With
window.
every-
Yeah.
yeah.
he's been through a lot. He should by this point be pretty wise.
Yeah, and how cool would a Turk book? I'm gonna write this down.
Yeah.
So we're not gonna talk about it anymore. Getting back to Chad in Amsterdam.
Yeah.
6 issues.
6 issues.
It's you got this incredible, great graphic novel. Is it one and done, or are there still more stories of Chad in Amsterdam?
Yeah, it's fun. I was just talking about that a second ago. I mean, there could be. Depends, right? Depends on sales. Depends if people want it. I got plenty more. I got enough to do a volume 2 for certain. So if folks like it, and I think the volume 2, I might. I don't know. And then I don't know how I proceed if I make more single issues. So I'm pondering that at the moment. But if I do, it'll be a little later. About a year and a half or 2.
Because you're knee deep in the re-up.
I'm knee deep in the re-up. So
And
yeah.
when you told me about the re-up, one thing that I really liked, and a bit later on we're gonna go into the story and your origin because that's also incredible. But tell us something about the girl who draws it.
My good friend Juliette DeVitt. So Juliette, we worked together in my 4th issue, the 4th chapter in there, on a comic called Where Them Dollars At, which takes place in a strip club. Now, Juliette DeVitt is she's a children's book. What would you say? Kinderboek
Ja,
tekenaar.
prentenboek misschien?
Yeah,
Ja, kinderboeken.
Kinderboek. So
Yeah.
she normally drawing children's books. So we met at what they call it Druk now. It used to be called the Beurs voor Bijzondere Uitgevers, right?
Paradiso, right?
Yeah. And so she came up to me and was like, "Hey, I heard of you. I'd like to work with you." And I Googled her, and I'm like, "Oh, okay. She does dope stuff. Let me." So we linked up, and she didn't want to draw anything kid-like. So I was like, "Well, I got a strip club story. It's not really a strip club story, but it is. It's not like I'm going and making it rain and nothing. That wasn't my point for going to the strip club. So
What was your point for going to a strip club?
I can't kill the joke, but
Read the book.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay,
On that one,
okay.
you got to read the book, but
Okay.
it's a good thing. But
Okay.
not strictly Christian fun.
Okay.
Wholesome family fun.
Yeah, indeed.
Hot
So,
diggity.
well, when we worked together after that, we became friends. So, I know her son, I know her husband, and we was chilling out. And then once we're like, "Hey, wouldn't you like to do like a graphic novel?" Yeah, I'd love to try my hand at a magnum opus type of thing. So I was like, "Well, I got one story, I think,
And the
is
most
unique
important
in
thing here
comics."
is, this is a girl who drew children books. And now hear the pitch of
Yeah,
that story because
The pitch is basically, at the time I was working at full-time and attending part-time Georgetown University, which is like this quite prestigious, excellent university in Washington, D.C. So I kind of inadvertently fell into selling a lot of weed back when weed was like illegal and exciting. So I'm telling the story of that. That's kind of the superficial layer, but it's very much a coming-of-age story. It's quite procedural. It's not just like Scarface.
Okay.
I'm telling you how it was done, how I did it.
Yeah.
For me, it's like a modern age prohibition story because now it's quite legal at the time. I mean, now. Back then, recently I went to a dispensary in D.C., and there was a young lady in there, and they liked the book. there was a young lady. She's like, I don't remember weed being illegal, and I'm like, that's funny. She was probably 18, and I guess not. When she was aware of it, it had been legal for quite some time. So, just recent history, not too old, as you can tell by the
Nokia.
Yeah, you got the Nokia screen. I don't know if everybody can see that, but you got this Nokia screen, which I thought would be great for the logo. The green for that screen, for the weed, for the money, So it's a long form thing. It's basically a graphic novel in process. We just decided to put it out incrementally, get some reviews, get some fervor, little bit of interest, and reviews have been great on it. So
Yeah, and also, again, what would really attract it to me is that a girl who illustrates children's books does a story about a guy who sells weed in D.C. when weed was not legal.
yeah, I mean it's a stretch, and I know that Juliet was like, it's something different. It's not the same thing, and my challenge is just to keep it fresh. It's a bunch of different sort of atmospheres and characters and whatnot, and it's a different type of drug story, I think. So it's not. A guy who reviewed it in the States, he said it's both more interesting and more boring than you think it
It's a great quote to get in.
It is, right? Like,
yeah, definitely.
well, it's ramping up, as they say. The ish is about to hit the fan soon, so yeah, it's coming. But yeah, we're happy. We think it looks great. I'm into that. And then maybe when we're done with that, I might. It depends. Like I said, if people feel the book, yeah, I got another book, definitely.
Yeah,
full
and
of
also
adventures.
The ambition to get it into a hardcover kind
Yeah.
of situation from scratch.
Yeah, if I do another, I'll definitely do it through them. Makes sense for an Amsterdam book. You know what I mean?
Well, we're going to wrap up this interview with one more question.
Mm.
And I'm going to, this is a really big one, so I'm not going to do it out of mind. I'm going to read it.
Oh, Lord.
Is Chad Bilyeu still a nerd at heart? And wears that badge of honor, and wears it as a badge of honor? And how do you let your nerd flag fly every day?
I guess, I'm a nerd, but not a geek, because I think there's a difference. Geeks are kind of socially inept, and that was never really my problem. I got other problems, but I mean, for me, it's funny because, growing up, all this stuff they say that's nerdy, I didn't really know it was nerdy. It's just what we did, like we read comics and we listened to our music, hip hop, and we thought those were kind of the same thing. And you listen to someone like Wu-Tang, I mean, these guys, Ghostface Killer calls themselves Tony Starks too, right? He's Iron Man. So it wasn't so nerdy, and then you figure out later, oh, it is kind of a nerd thing. But I don't know, I'm proud of it. If being a nerd means I read a lot and I have good taste and I try new stuff and I like good art and I buy comics and help perpetuate what I think is like the best medium on the planet, then I'll be a nerd. That's cool. And it's funny because I'm no spring chicken. I'm like 48 now, so I really don't care what people think about me. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna read and do what I want to do, regardless. But all the things I want to do doesn't infringe on anybody else's happiness. And yeah, I mean, if you haven't read comics, I'm sure you guys got a list of comics you can, I always suggest things to friends, like try this out, and they usually are sold,
That's the great thing about DC is bringing out trade paperback, small, like more manga-like.
I read about that.
With Watchmen, and they are $9.99.
That's perfect.
And I said to Charles, order a shitload. That was my shitload.
Boatload.
Order a boatload of them because I'm gonna buy them because it's the perfect gift when to who's not into comics but into really good stories.
Yeah,
right.
And that's a great gateway if you want a really good story and something that is out of the norm and that you see normally in biographical comics. Chad in Amsterdam. It's sold in your local stripboekenwinkel and some comic stores. And it's completely in English. We forgot to tell that. There are some
There's Dutch, but it's
it.
definitely mostly in English.
It's
for
in
sure.
English. So,
For sure.
Chad, thank you very much. We're going to see you back at the end of the show.
All right, thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Woo! Yeah.
Nou, spreek ik weer ineens Nederlands. Dat is wel heel erg gek. Maar
Dat kan jij ook.
misschien dat ik ineens Nederlands met een heel Amerikaans accent kan praten. Ja,
Gewoon lekker Engelse woorden tussendoor. Dat is heel modern.
Heel modern. Ik wilde zeggen Medaar en ik, maar de 2 Jeroenen waren afgelopen weekend bij de presentatie van een heel mooi boek. Een Strip Hommage van niemand minder dan Eric Scheurs. Jeroen heeft de dure.
Ja.
En ik heb de goedkope. Maar wel 2 hele toffe boeken.
Je wil zien wie de grootste vriend van de uitgever is.
Zeker
Hè?
weten, zeker weten.
Ik dacht dus dat hij me had gematst, maar ik heb even teruggezocht op Voor de Kunst. Ik heb hier echt voor betaald.
Oké.
Dus ik
heb deze gratis gehad.
Nou,
en
ja,
ik
precies.
heb er 1 gekocht.
Ben jij het meest
Dus
gematst?
dat is een ding. Nee, Eric Scheurs.
Scheurs, hè?
Scheurs.
Ja,
Zie je, dat is toch dat Engels praten.
Ja.
Scheurs.
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 Ik kan dat altijd moeilijk schrijven. Ik vergeet die R altijd. Maar,
We weten nu dat ik het moeilijk kan uitspreken. Eric Scheurs. Whatever. Erik S. Bekend van Joop Klepsijker. Ik weet nog dat ik toen Jeroen nog een Jeroentje was. Wij hadden de Panorama thuis. Mijn buren hadden een nieuwe revue. En elke zondagavond wisselde de Panorama een nieuwe revue open. En ik zat er echt op te wachten. Het eerste wat ik deed was Doorzon en Joop Klepsijker. Ik was echt een heel groot fan. En toen kwam Reboot met het nieuws dat ze een Kickstarter gingen doen om een tributeboek te maken. Ja. En ik heb hem gelezen.
Ja, ik ook. We hebben hem pas sinds zaterdag, dus dat hebben we allebei heel snel gedaan. Ik ben natuurlijk ooit bij de start van Reboot betrokken geweest. Dat is denk ik al meer dan 3 jaar geleden inmiddels. En toen hadden we het hier al over. We waren toen de Ninetales crowdfunding aan het doen. En dit zat al lang in de koker van Leon. Leon, de uitgever van Reboot, is ook een groot Scheurs-fan. En hij was al in contact met de familie van Eric Scheurs om dit te gaan doen. Ze hebben er dus meer dan 3 jaar over gedaan. En tijdens de presentatie waar we waren in het Moka in Noordwijk... was onder andere broer Stanley Scheurs was nog even aan het woord. En die zei ook dat het niet zonder slag of stoot was gegaan. Ik kon me er van alles bij voorstellen.
Zoals het ook hoort, denk ik.
Ja, precies. Dat is denk ik ook wel mooi. En er is heel lang over gedaan. En ik denk ook wel dat je dat van het boek af kan zien.
Zal ik een hele boute uitspraak maken?
Ja.
Om te beginnen. Ik denk dat dit misschien wel een van de beste tributebooks is die in het Nederlands gemaakt is. Ik heb echt genoten. Ik heb echt en de reden dat dit zo goed is normaal als jij zei het aan de telefoon dat we een voorgesprek hadden toen ik onderweg naar de studio in Exbia was. Vertelde me dat jij het heel tof vond dat het niet normaal tributeboek Martin Lodewijk zijn dan pagina-interpretaties van de superheld Agent 327 of van welke stripheld dan ook. En dit is een echt naslagwerk. Er staan hele goede verhalen, achtergrondverhalen staan erin, er staan interviews staan erin. Er staat ja, ik heb echt een probleem. Origineel artwork. Origineel artwork staat erin. Het is gewoon een heel gaaf boek. Moet ik wel heel eerlijk bij zeggen. Je moet wel Joop Klepsijker fan zijn. Want ik heb hem ook aan iemand laten zien die Joop Klepsijker niet kende. En die keek me toch iets wat vreemd aan. Vooral voor de tekeningen die de tekenaars weer gemaakt hebben.
Je moet een beetje weten wat het is, denk ik. Want ik moet ook zeggen dat ik niet per se een hele grote fan ben. Ik ken het natuurlijk wel van vroeger. Ik kom uit een wat, hoe zeg je dat? Wat vromer nest dan jij, denk ik, Jeroen. Dus bij mij was dit eigenlijk helemaal niet gewenst. Dit soort strips in huis bij mijn ouders. Toch sneakte er wel eens een Doorzon of een Klepsijker binnen. Of andere strips in die trant. En ik vond het natuurlijk wel interessant als een klein Jeroentje. Want ik ben ook een klein Jeroentje geweest. Misschien ben ik het nog steeds. En dus ik heb het wel meegekregen. Moet er een paar in de kast hebben. Ik kon ze even niet vinden, want ik wilde eigenlijk een oude versleten Klepsijker meenemen voor vandaag. Maar dat lukte even niet. Zelfs ik, terwijl het helemaal niet de doorgaanse stijl is die ik lees, vind het wel heel leuk om te zien, maar het is gewoon een beetje, het is gewoon absurd. Nou, een beetje, het is gewoon absurd.
Maar het is niet dan absurd, het is ook gigantisch ranzig.
Ja, vooral lekker goor.
Ik weet nog dat ik dat ik nog kleiner Jeroentje dan jij was. Ik vond zijn, sorry voor dit hoor, ik vond zijn projectielkotsen. Al die dingen. Dat als
dikke stralen,
die hele grote stralen. Ik heb het wel eens geprobeerd met heel veel drank. Het is mij nooit op zo'n mooie manier gelukt als dat Joop Klepsijker dat wel deed.
Ja. Nou ja, we hebben het dus ook... er waren 6 of 7 tekenaars aanwezig, hè, van hommage-tekenaars in dit geval. En ik ga even kijken of ik dit kan laten zien aan de camera. Ik weet niet, misschien...
Daar gaan onze YouTube-ratings.
Daar gaan ze,
Voor degenen die alleen luisteren, een piemel.
Precies, de piemels en borsten zijn toch natuurlijk wel wat er dan in zo'n tekening moet. En een aantal karikaturen van de klep, getekend door de hommageartiesten. Dat krijg je dan wel mee in je boek, Jeroen. Ja,
Ja.
Jij hebt het prachtig.
Ik heb hem voor... Kijk, als jij hem laat zien, laat ik hem ook zien.
We laten hem allebei even zien.
Even, ik zie mij daar heel bedenkelijk kijken. Zo van, dat gaat een probleem op YouTube worden.
We hebben hem allebei laten zien, maar daar.
Als hij geband wordt, dan knippen we dit er gewoon uit.
Ja.
Ik heb een extra boek gekocht voor Michiel, een vriend van de show, een goede vriend van mij, woont in Bristol. En het allereerste wat hij tekende was deze, de superkok.
De stripkok.
Ja,
En dat is dus ook eigenlijk weer een grapje, omdat Leon, de uitgever van Reboot, ook een kookboek heeft uitgegeven. En hij zich op Facebook de stripkok noemt. Dus nu werden er dus stripkoks in ons boek getekend.
Ja. Wat vond jij van... Ik vind het heel goed.
Ja.
Ik had wel één heel groot ding waar ik denk... Ik sprak gisteravond sprak de uitgever. Ja. En via de WhatsApp. Hij zei, wat vond je ervan? Ik zei, ik vind het helemaal te gek. Ik was zwaar onder de indruk. Ik zeg, als je dit meer maakt, dan I'm on board. Maar ik zeg, het heeft wel een betere redacteur nodig. Ja. Dit soort boeken valt of staat bij bladritme, noemen we dat als we bladen maken. Ja, en dat zit er dus ook een beetje helemaal niet in.
Want het is die eerdere hommage waar ik het net over had, bijvoorbeeld Agent 327, maar helaas was het ook van Guus Vlater, die was zoveel jaar oud en dat is ook een hommage. Dat is dan een boek, die koop je dan ook eigenlijk gewoon softcover, want zo bijzonder is het ook weer niet. Dit is wel hardcover waardig namelijk. En dat boek bevat dan gewoon iets van 48 pagina's aan tekeningen. Ja. Maar dit boek bevat dus interviews, hommagetekeningen, soms paginavullend, soms ook een hele strip, of een strip van meerdere pagina's zelfs. En wat origineel werk van Eric Scheurs zelf, wat opnieuw is ingekleurd, oude covers en zo, die ze laten zien. Dus ja, inderdaad, dit is veel meer een magazine, eigenlijk als je het hebt over inhoud, dan dat het puur een stripboekje is.
Ja, en als je magazines maakt, dan is bladritme altijd heel erg goed dat mensen ik ga een Engels woord gebruiken, een incentive hebben om door te bladeren. Ja. En het begint met tekststukken, een strip, een plaatje, tekststukken en daarna ineens allemaal strips. Ja. En dat is het enige waarvan ik hiervan vind van, ja, het ritme had even beter gekund.
Dat meer verspreid mogen worden. Ik vond de meeste interviews wel erg interessant. Ik vond het leuk om ook bijvoorbeeld verhalen van Gerrit de Jager en van Toon van Driel ook, die helemaal niet zo... ze waren helemaal niet zulke vrienden eigenlijk. En dat wordt hier dan... Ik bedoel, het is niet allemaal maar een mooi weershow wat hier staat. De broer van Eric Scheurs, die vertelt ook wel een heel eerlijk verhaal. En dat vind ik wel mooi. En ik ben het met je eens, dat had ook prima voor het ritme geweest als dat werd afgewisseld met een aantal hommage-tekeningen en een aantal originele van Eric Scheurs. Ja.
Maar voor de rest, ik vind het een van de mooiste striphommages en de beste striphommages van Nederland op dit moment.
Reboot, steek die in je zak.
Dat wou ik zeggen. Alsjeblieft, rekenen straks af trouwens. Nee.
Ja, we hebben een superleuke avond gehad. Want het duurde ook wel even met alle tekenaars en zo.
Ja. En ik heb dus alle tekeningen erin en die heb ik voor mijn maat gemaakt. Ik heb zelf een maagdelijk stripboek. Nou, en ik weet of ik dat heel erg vind.
Ik neem hem nog wel een keertje mee naar een beurs. Daar zijn ze altijd te vinden.
Ik heb de simpele. Hij komt over een maand is hij te koop.
Dan pas?
Ja, ik geloof het wel. Ja? Ik denk dat hij eerst alle mensen gaat uitleveren die...
ik zag een foto inderdaad. Want hij heeft alle dozen in de woonkamer staan. Die moeten nog de deur uit. Ja. En daarna zal hij in de winkel liggen.
Dat zal hij in de winkel liggen. 1999. Ik vond hem... hij heeft is iets duurder en die komt niet in de winkel.
Nee, maar dit is een stofomslag. Dus de normale hardcover ziet er ook gewoon zo uit zoals jouw softcover. Ja.
Ik ben tevreden met een gewone softcover.
Ja, nee, het is een prachtig boek. En zeker als je dat interessant vindt, de combinatie van en hommages en verhalen en wat originele tekeningen uit het museum, die opnieuw zijn gekleurd, dan is dit dik aanrader.
Een echte Nederlandstalige niet te missen.
Precies.
Dankjewel, Jeroen.
Dankjewel.
Okay, and now we're switching back to English again. So, sorry, Chad, thank you very much for this.
You're welcome.
It's a great way to...
Bedankt.
Ja, alsjeblieft. Wat, spreek je Nederlands? Hadden we gewoon kunnen doen in het Nederlands.
Ik spreek een beetje Nederlands.
Maar best goed, ja.
Maar niet genoeg voor een interessante dialoog.
Nou ja, dat was wel een hele lange... That would be a very long podcast, so let's stick to English. It's time to wrap it up, but not before we talk about our hidden gem. And this time we asked for Chad to do a hidden gem, and he's got something so hidden, even Medar and I didn't know about it.
Yeah.
Chad, take it away.
Okay, in the spirit of me doing all this autobiographical stuff, there's a guy who used to, he's like me, or like a Harvey Pekar. He worked with a bunch of artists. He was on Fantagraphics during kind of the heyday with Haight and Mary Fleener, all these people. His name is Dennis Eichhorn, and his comic was called Real Stuff. So, unlike most autobiographic comic people, he was not like this introverted loser nerd guy. He was pretty much tough dude, high school and college football player. He went to jail for something, not quite sure, but he's got a lot of prison stories. Had his own newspaper in Seattle. He did quite a lot of things, and he's the guy who he writes about things you don't think most comic people do. Lots of fights, lots of sex. He had another comic called, I think it was Real Sex, I believe it was, or Real Smut. That was the name. So Real Stuff and Real Smut. And he's just, he's just a tough dude, like smart guy, but got into fights, got into threesomes, just a lot of things going on. Now, his books are not in print, so you got to hit eBay to find them. Again, the name's Eichhorn. Well, I'll spell it with the English vowels, Eichhorn. And I think you'll like it. And, he's got people like Peter Bagg drawing, Chester Burns, a lot of underground people who were quite something at the time. So you'll like a lot of the artists that he worked with. And the stories are they're ridiculous. They're way more exciting than most of the introspection that a lot of autobiographic comics get kind of, in my opinion, stuck in. So it's real fun. If you like this sort of stuff, mischief and mayhem and people getting shot, he's got, all types of crazy, nutty stories. So I recommend Real Stuff and Real Smut by Dennis Eichhorn.
Nice. Do you know the reason why it's out of print?
I don't know. It's so weird because, like, Joe Matt is out of print,
Yep.
So I don't know what these folks at Fantagraphics and John and Quarterly are thinking, but get this stuff back in print, I don't know. Why not? It's good stories. So he definitely, you can find the issues online on eBay for sure. Relatively cheap,
Okay.
between 4 and 10 an issue. Sometimes if you're lucky, you can find the whole set. And there's a trade that prints the best of, what they consider to be the best of. Yeah.
That was an interesting hidden gem.
Yeah, it's really hidden, because you
yeah.
can't just go to the store and buy it. Sorry for making it so difficult to actually locate, but you said hidden gem.
I like a challenge.
Yeah.
If you are listening to this and you think like, I want that, I'm gonna get it, send us a picture and we will send you one of our favorite trade paperbacks.
There we go. Word.
This was episode 120, live from Hilversum, Exbia. Thank you, Chad. Thank you. Our sponsor, CIA, Comics Import Amsterdam, the biggest,
The best.
the nicest personnel.
Yeah.
And Ray, he's not here. let me tell you one thing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get a dig out, Ray. We've been doing this for long.
Sorry, Ray.
Ray thought it was more important to see the premiere of June, part 1 and 2, in one sitting,
Okay.
than it was to meet a fellow American.
Yeah.
Because Ray is American.
Okay. I
So-
don't take it personally. He's probably met enough Americans in his life. It's all good.
That's true. But not in Amsterdam, maybe.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Like always, the music was made by
Jouk Fries, dankjewel.
Oh, Jock Fries.
Yeah. En I'm sure I'm...
Wacht even. We doen even... Wat? Ja. Oh ja, tuurlijk.
Dankjewel.
Sorry, God, we zijn hier bijna vergeten.
Ja.
And we had a very special guest, not a guest, but he was working behind the scenes like crazy. He ordered the pizza, he cut the pizza, he gave us the food, some stuff that Jeroen Ooms is normally supposed to do. But Roald, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
He is one that you should thank in the comments for the technical setup.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, you will see this on YouTube within the week, and I think within a couple of days on your favorite podcast platform. Share it, like it, subscribe, put your thumb up, your digital thumb, and also subscribe to YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. And I said it, I was at an interview with Twitch.
Yeah.
And Medar and I, we talked about our next live thing at CIA next week, where we're gonna talk about the latest previews. We're probably gonna stream that on Twitch.
Yeah, so first time experience. So.
Medar is not the one who's really the enthusiastic. Yes, let's do it. So I hope his face was not on the. We're gonna do it. We're gonna spend it, and it's gonna be really nice.
Yeah, it's gonna be fantastic. It's gonna be the best Twitch stream ever in CIA.
Boom. check our socials for the details. Thank you very much. See you next week. Hear you next week. Thank you for your time. Chat again.
Yeah,
Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, man.
It was really cool.
It was real good fun.
And see you guys next week.
Yeah.
All right,
Cheers. Bye. Bye-bye.